everybody, and welcome to another brand new episode of T Watches a Scary Movie. My name is T, and of course, we're talking scary movies. I appreciate you tuning in for another brand new episode. Remember, new episodes go up every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on the YouTube page. That's youtube.com/C/Theron Reynolds Scary Movie. Again, youtube.com/C/Theron Reynolds Scary Movie. As well, you can find the audio-only version on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Just search T Watches a Scary Movie or TWASM, and you'll get everything that you need on all your favorite podcasting platforms. So, tonight, I am doing my review of one last holiday horror film that I didn't get a chance to review back in December when I was going through and usually do like all my Christmas horror time ones. This one came a little bit later, so understandably so I couldn't get it fit in, but it's going to be the last one we talk about till we get to December this year, December of 2023. But tonight, I'm going to be reviewing the Adult Swim Yule Log movie. Absolutely love this film. I had so much fun with this movie, and I'm excited to talk with y'all about it because I'm sure some of y'all who at least were hearing about this on social media a few weeks back definitely were very confused by what everybody was talking about. And if you've managed to avoid any kind of spoilers with this film, you are in for a real treat. I'm going to do my best because y'all know me with the 10-year rule. I try to avoid talking that many spoilers in the movies that I am reviewing, but I'm gonna have to talk about some in this. I'm not gonna go all into it, but just be warned, there are gonna be some mild spoilers at least inside my review later tonight. But in the meantime, we have some exciting new developments sprouting up in the world of horror, including the fact that the Evil Dead Rise trailer has finally debuted. That's right, folks. Evil Dead Rise, which is coming to theaters near you here in just the next few months, has finally released its long-awaited trailer. Now, you might be aware of this film. I've talked about it a number of times on the show. Initially, this movie was going to be debuting on HBO Max. There was a lot of talk that it was going to be coming out last fall, actually. And then, surprise, surprise, we are actually getting a theatrical release with this film. So it's coming to theaters this spring coming up here. And the trailer is just absolute insanity. First of all, we should go ahead and put this out there. While we can't say 100% yes, because obviously we haven't seen the film yet, this doesn't look to really have any ties back to Sam Raimi's original series or to Fede Alvarez's remake that he did just a little bit over 10 years ago at this point, similarly titled Evil Dead. And what is interesting is that there was a bit of information released about this upcoming film, about the way to look at the inspiration for it, namely coming from Army of Darkness, which is very, very interesting, only because of the fact that I know that a lot of people who really enjoy like the earlier entries, like Evil Dead 1 and 2, they really enjoy the fact that those ones are a little bit more versed in horror, whereas Army of Darkness 100% is like the comedy version of the Evil Dead tale. But something big that came out of Army of Darkness was there was this scene to where Ash is trying to get the Book of the Dead, trying to get it closed, and trying to complete the spell in order to stop the siege of the Evil Dead coming and destroying the castle. And there's this point where he's out in the countryside and he sees these 3 different Necronomicons, and he doesn't know which one is the correct book. And to us back then, we kind of play it off because that's not really the focus of Army of Darkness itself. You know, the focus is him saying the right words. He doesn't say the right words. It raises the Evil Dead, and they storm the castle. Well, Lee Cronin actually talked a bit about this, about with his entry and with Fede Alvarez's entry that he made And then with Sam Raimi's stuff, everybody had their own different Necronomicon. You know, Sam Raimi had the original one, hence why the Deadites act and are very different in Evil Dead 1, 2, and Army of Darkness versus the way the Deadites are in Fede Alvarez's remake and how they're going to be in this version. That basically each filmmaker's different entry into the series is taking a different Necronomicon. And we know there's things with time travel and portal jumping and all that kind of stuff. So it's not that weird to say that even though we're probably not going to see Ash showing up or Mia showing up in this, there's still connections to those other entries in the series. But in this one, it's about a family in a high-rise LA apartment. They find the Book of the Dead, or a version of the Book of the Dead, here in this building, and basically that gives way to the Deadites and the demons, and thrusting this family into a battle for survival as things get insane. And I know you're watching the trailer here right now. This thing just looks ridiculously bloody, absolutely gory. It looks like it's perfect for an Evil Dead fan. And what I'm hoping to come out of this, because while I did like Fede Alvarez's remake from 2013, my issue with it, honestly, was that I thought that it went more for the gore over the scares. And we always talk about how horror films don't actually have to be scary. And that's absolutely true. They don't always have to be scary. Some of my favorite horror films don't actually scare me anymore, or they never did. I just really enjoy the atmosphere that they create. And comparing the original Evil Dead to Fede Alvarez's version, I always said that Sam Raimi's original version was much more scary, but far less gory, even though it's a very, very gory film, whereas Fede Alvarez's version is just ridiculously gory, but in my opinion, not that scary outside of maybe a scene or two. And that's okay. You can pick and choose which one you really enjoy. And I know a lot of people really enjoy that remake. This looks like it's either found the perfect blend between being scary and being gory, or it actually looks, believe it or not, a little bit closer to Sam Raimi's original. So I'm very, very excited for it. I'm super, super excited for this film. Lee Cronin is our writer and director this time around, and obviously is going to have his own spin, his own taste on this Evil Dead entry. So we don't know. We don't know what to expect out of this here, but we do know this movie is coming up soon. It debuts April 21st. Like I said, we're going to get it here in the spring, so we don't have to wait too long to see the new Evil Dead. And I'm sure we're going to have another trailer popping up sometime in the next month or so as well, because we have a lot of horror coming out between now and the release of Evil Dead Rise. So don't be surprised if we do get a pretty big new trailer. I would expect in early March, honestly. So you've seen this one here, folks. Evil Dead Rise coming April 21st. And that brings us to the meat of our show tonight, our review. We are talking the Adult Swim Yule Log. Now, I should mention this was actually my very first film of the year. My wife and I and the in-laws, my mom, we watched the ball drop, and then I wanted to put something on to start the year right. I caught up on everything that I at least had a very big interest in seeing. There was still stuff that I was mildly interested in watching, but I had seen everything that I had really big on my list, and I had managed to avoid most of the spoilers around the Adult Swim Yule Log. Like, I had seen my Twitter lighting up about it when it first came out, but I hadn't read any reviews. All I'd known is that Casper Kelly, the person behind doing Adult Swim Too Many Cooks, which is one of the most hilarious bits I have ever seen in my life. If you haven't seen Too Many Cooks, get on YouTube right now and check it out. If you are a fan of old 80s and 90s sitcoms and just want to get a great laugh that eventually just gets absolutely insane and even more and more insane, go and watch Too Many Cooks. It'll be the best, I think 5 minutes, I think 6 minutes that you'll have spent in recent memory. But I knew that Casper Kelly was behind this, but I had managed to avoid most of any kind of spoilers related to Adult Swim Yule Log, because I didn't want to spoil it for myself, and I wanted to be in on whatever joke that was there. And if you've seen Yule Log videos, which is a running gag in this movie, because it is a movie, Yule Log videos are those fascinating videos we see pop up around the holiday season, where it's literally just an hour, 2 hours, even more, of a crackling log on the fire, usually with holiday music in the background. You know, Netflix does it. I think Disney does it as well. I think a lot of streaming platforms have gotten into it. YouTube has definitely done a big lot of it as well. And they are a very big, fascinating craze. It makes your house all warm and cozy, even if you have a nice fireplace, a real one. It's still a fun thing to put up for Christmas parties that a lot of people do. And Adult Swim Yule Log does start off the way that you would expect a Yule Log video to, which we see a crackling fire going. And what's interesting, and folks, again, I'm going to stay away from major spoilers in this, but I do have to talk some mild ones. So if you don't even want mild spoilers, tune out now, go watch it on HBO Max, and then come on back and check this review out, because it's impossible to really talk about this movie without getting into some minor spoilers. But the fun thing about the Adult Swim Yule Log is that the first few minutes really are set up the way that a Yule Log video is. And I kind of think that's the joke, is that maybe a number of people actually put this movie on and they thought it was just another different version of Yule Log. And if you're running a party, that can be really fun. Like, oh man, well, I'm an Adult Swim guy, I'm an Adult Swim person. You know, I think this would work better for me. Maybe there's some laughs in there. Maybe, you know, Rick and Morty show up, or anybody from Adult Swim's catalog shows up at this point in the middle of this Yule Log, making it a little bit more of a funnier one. So you might just leave it on. But then after a few minutes, you start hearing a lot of sound going on in the background. And believe it or not, within the first 10 minutes of this Yule Log, there is a grisly home invasion and murder all happening while we are still centered around this Yule Log. And I really do wonder how many people really stuck with this and paid attention and just didn't like walk away and go do something else and weren't worried about what they are hearing on their TV, because it's fascinating. And it gets even more interesting because then not too long after this murder is committed, the camera actually pulls back, and lo and behold, we are watching an actual movie. There's an actual movie going on while the Yule Log is still front and center here in the middle of the shot, and we're introduced to a young couple, Zoe and Alex, who have come to spend a weekend away together. Alex has decided that it's time to take the next step in their relationship, but they're soon going to find out that a crazed killer on the loose isn't their only problem, as the couple's gonna have way more visitors than a killer running around the mountains to worry about, and this is gonna make this a night they soon won't forget. Now, it's hard for me to dive deeper into that because I've given you enough spoilers as it is. I've already told you that we're not going to stay focused on the Yule Log the only time. And I think it would be pretty easy to play it off just exactly like Too Many Cooks, which Too Many Cooks starts off with giving you like a typical like American family sitcom, and then it keeps going, and then it keeps going, then it starts getting crazier, and more elements start going in, then it's just out of this world, absolute bonkers, batshit insane, and it's just ridiculous as the time goes on. And to say that that's what Yule Log is might actually be a disservice, because I don't want anybody to feel that it's like another iteration of that, because it's really not. I found myself actually really thinking of a movie I've talked about a lot on this show, Sci-Fi's Slumber Party Massacre reboot, because that movie is absolutely a real horror film, but it's also very much a parody of horror films. It's meta, but it's more meta than Scream was, I honestly thought, because they're realistically making fun of the old Slumber Party Massacre movies while still being a sequel, a reboot in the exact same series. And I feel like That's what Yule Log very much is that it is a horror film that's like, look, number one, we're going to subvert what you're thinking that a Yule Log movie actually is, but then we're going to make it 100% the exact opposite of what a Yule Log watching video actually is, and we're just going to lean into the madness that we can throw into you within 90 minutes. Now, it's super aware. It is very, very aware of what's going on, and it's not just for one kind of horror fan. There are so many different genres that they throw into this movie that it's almost like an anthology film all in one at the point, which makes it so much more fun to watch and enjoy as a viewer. Now, again, our leads here, Zoe played by Andrea Lang, and Alex played by Justin Miles. They are your typical stereotypical horror heroines and villains in this. Is that, you know, Alex means so well, but he's very much overdoing it, and he's played to be overdoing it, that when shit starts going down, he's the firm guy who doesn't believe any of this is actually happening, and then tries to justify the reason when things get worse and worse. And Zoe has this, you know, very, very terrible backstory that ties into more of the insanity that the film is bringing, and, you know, obviously has to get stronger as the movie goes on if she's going to save the day from the absolute madness happening around them. And I love the foreshadowing in this movie, because there's so much foreshadowing throughout like the first quarter of this film. They are blatantly telling you in the first quarter of this film what is going to happen in this movie, and I think it'd be so easy just to be laughing your ass off watching it and let it go in one ear and out the other, so then when it pops up, you're like, what the hell am I witnessing right now? But again, if you're listening and paying attention, you will know that they set you up for it so earlier in the film, telling you point blank what is going to happen. There's so many different plot threads here. They use flashbacks fantastically, like just interwoven, and not even like a typical flashback. It's almost like a glitch, because the movie seems like it might as well be 90s based, even though there is there's another subplot about podcasters in it as well. But this so much seems like this could be a 90s based movie, because the flashbacks are very much told through glitches and our telling device, because it is very much for a good portion of it a found footage movie that then turns into a larger narrative, which I liked. I like that a lot, because I think that certain found footage films can lose their muster and lose the whole idea of why would you still be filming at this time. And I think that as crazy as this movie gets, the right decision was made to say, basically, we're only doing this for a portion of it, because then it's impossible to say you would still follow it, and then some of the plot threads would not make sense for a found footage movie either, which you'll get as you get deeper into this, is that it would just be impossible to do this completely as found footage. And I think for a brand that has done so well making people laugh the last couple decades, it couldn't be more clear that when Adult Swim wants to go dark, everybody wins. They nail it perfectly. So I don't want to give you too much here, because I want you to go check it out for yourself and support this film. It's absolutely fantastic. Go to HBO Max and check out Adult Swim Yule Log. And you can find my written review on Letterboxd. Just search me. That's AXDEW. Got my review up for you, folks. Boy here is a big fan of Fangoria. So, if you want to check out the world's best horror magazine that's out there, get a chance to get yourself your own subscription, which I just got my first one back in 2022, and I don't regret it for a second. But if you want your own Fangoria subscription, or you like the Fangoria merchandise, then head over to the Fangoria shop and use my link if you want to save yourself some money, folks. That's an easy one to remember. Just go to shop.fangoria.com/AXDEW. Again, that's shop.fangoria.com/AXDEW, or use use my specific code, AXDEW, at checkout, you can save 20% off your entire order, and that implies 2 subscription and a one-time orders as well. You don't want to miss out, folks, because with the magnitude of horror movies we've had released in the last few years, and with what we have on the horizon, Fangoria is going to be your #1 source for all that great, juicy, bloody information in the world of horror. So again, head to shop.fangoria.com. Hey there, folks! Thanks for tuning in to T-Watch This Scary Movie. I appreciate you checking out another review or movie news, whether we're talking movies, TV shows, books, or games, whatever, it's all scary. Remember, you can check out new episodes every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on the YouTube page for video. That's youtube.com/C/Theron Reynolds Scary Movie. Again, youtube.com/C/Theron Reynolds Scary Movie. And you can check out the audio version on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Just search T Watch the Scary Movie or TWASM. Don't forget, my name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.